हाय स्टूडेंट्स, जय श्री राम सभी को। वेलकम बैक टू अवर चैनल पवन पीटी क्लासेस। स्टूडेंट्स, आज की इस वीडियो में मैं आपको बताऊंगा कि कैसे आप पीटी के एग्ज़ाम में 90 में से 90 अचीव कर सकते हैं, कौन कौन से टेम्पलेट्स आपको फॉलो करने हैं और जो हमारी रीडिंग की ट्रिक्स हैं क्या वो रियल एग्ज़ाम में भी वैसे ही वर्क करती हैं। तो आज की इस वीडियो में आपको लाइव फुल मॉक टेस्ट देने जा रहा हूँ, जिसमें आप देख सकते हो कि कौन कौन से मैंने टेम्पलेट्स किए और किस तरीके से मैंने टेम्पलेट किए। जो रिज़ल्ट है वो आपके सामने है कि जो ओवरऑल स्कोर आया है वो 90 में से 90 आया है, जिसमें लिसनिंग में 88, रीडिंग में 90, स्पीकिंग में 90 और राइटिंग में 89। ये सब मैंने कैसे अचीव किया वो फुल आप देख सकते हो। आज की ये एक वीडियो देखने के बाद आपका भी जो स्कोर है पीटी में 90 में से 90 आप भी अचीव कर सकते हो। सो वीडियो को बिना स्किप करें आप वीडियो को एंड तक जरूर देखें और चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करें। जिसने भी अभी तक वीडियो को लाइक नहीं किया है वो वीडियो को लाइक जरूर करें, क्योंकि ऐसी वीडियोस आपको इसी चैनल पे देखने को मिलती हैं। जैसे ही इस वीडियो पे 1000 लाइक्स आएंगे वैसे ही आपको जो रीडिंग की और शॉर्टकट ट्रिक्स हैं वो आपको चैनल पे देखने को मिलेंगी। A creature may have fine physical defenses such as hard armor on sharp spines. It may have powerful chemical defenses such as an अगर हमारी ट्रिक देखें हम तो ट्रिक हमारी पास लग रही है आगे से ए पीछे से आईएनजी, मोस्ट कॉमन निकला थर्ड वाला। Smell or for tasting flash, but none of these defenses is much used in the dash for survival. ऑप्शन देखते हैं। सर्वाइवल के लिए हम क्या करेंगे? सर्वाइवल के लिए मार्च कोई नहीं। सर्वाइवल के लिए हम स्ट्रगल कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि इसमें भी ट्रिक लग रही है। और के बाद आया हुआ है एस, और से पहले भी है हमारे पास एस वाला ही, इसमें आ जाएगा स्ट्रगल। For survival, unless the animal also has right behavior to go with evolution, shapes a living creature, size, color and other dash. हमारे पास है यहाँ पे ई एस ई एस ई एस और फर्स्ट सेकंड थर्ड, और थर्ड वाले को करते हैं नेगलेक्ट क्योंकि वो थोड़ा सा लेंथी है एज़ कम्पेयर टू फर्स्ट एंड सेकंड। तो साइज है, कलर है और पीस नहीं हो सकता। साइज, कलर और शेप हो सकता है। देखो शेप दे ही रखा है तो वही राइट आंसर होगा। फिर द मोस्ट डैश बिहेवियर, बिहेवियर कैसा हो सकता है? डिफ़िकल्ट बिहेवियर नहीं। डेंजरस बिहेवियर, लाइन नेगेटिव नहीं है कि हम डेंजरस लगाएं। ऑटोमेटिक बिहेवियर, द क्रिएचर कैन परफॉर्म द एक्शंस, ओके। टेस्टिंग एंड ट्रायल, डूइंग एंड ट्रायल या फिर ट्रायल एंड एरर। यहाँ पे जो राइट आंसर होगा ट्रायल होगा। आईएनजी वाला नहीं होगा क्योंकि एंड के बाद भी आईएनजी नहीं है। सो देखो आप देख सकते हो कि जो ये हमारी ट्रिक्स है वो पियर्सन में भी काम करती हैं। हेलो, make sure your microphone is on when you are all ready. Hello, make sure. Okay, all good. नेक्स्ट करते हैं इसको। तो चलिए अब टेस्ट को स्टार्ट करते हैं। ओके, तो सिंपली हम यहाँ पे द पर्पस ऑफ द इंफॉर्मेटिव स्पीच इज़ टू प्रोवाइड इंटरेस्टिंग, यूजफुल एंड यूनिक इन्फॉर्मेशन, यहाँ तक करेंगे। द पर्पस ऑफ द इंफॉर्मेटिव स्पीच इज़ टू प्रोवाइड इंटरेस्टिंग, यूजफुल एंड यूनिक इन्फॉर्मेशन। वैसे हमारे 10 मिनट्स जो हैं यहाँ तक कंप्लीट हो रहे हैं तो यहीं तक रखते हैं। चलो, द पर्पस ऑफ द इंफॉर्मेटिव स्पीच इज टू प्रोवाइड इंटरेस्टिंग। नेक्स्ट, द पेस ऑफ द प्रेजेंट डे एंड आउट इन टू द डिस्टेंट, यहाँ तक रखते हैं। 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11। द पेस ऑफ द प्रेजेंट डे एंड आउट इन टू द डिस्टेंट। Okay. Early morning, no matter how late he had been up, my father rose at 5:30. Every morning. Every morning, no matter how late he had been up, my father rose at 5:30. Okay. There is every reason to believe that effective regulations are not merely a luxury. There is every reason to believe that effective regulations are not merely a luxury. Okay. There is every reason to believe that effective regulations are not merely a luxury. There is every reason to believe that effective regulations are not merely a luxury. Okay. इस क्वेश्चन में students who might otherwise have gone to business school instead opted for a law. Students who might otherwise who gone to business school instead opted for a law. The most obvious change is that 46% of the college's undergraduates. Yeah, this one is good. When I went there, it was only the third year that women had been admitted. When I went there, it was only the third year that women had been admitted. When I went there, it was only the third year that women had been admitted. Okay, repeat sentence.
Please pass these handouts along to the rest of the people in your row.
Please pass the handouts along to the rest of the people in your row. Next.
The first step was to establish a baseline of known distance.
The first step is to establish the baseline of long distance.
Politicians make much better decisions when they listen to public opinion.
Politicians make much better decision when they listen to public opinion. 2 parts में divide करके बोल सकते हैं.
Please take these up to Mr. Mitchell in the chemistry lab.
Please take Mr. Mitchell in the chemistry lab.
The bus right out in front will take you to the station.
The bus right out in the front will take you to the station. One pause रखें.
The head of department isn't available till Thursday.
The head of the department is available Thursday.
39.5% of California residents do not speak English in the home.
39.5% California residents do not speak English at home.
Children are not allowed in tutorial rooms at any time.
Children are not allowed in tutorial room at any time.
There are many people in the USA who are critical of their voting system.
There are many people in USA who are critical for voting system.
Many environment experts are very concerned about the future of our planet.
Many environment experts are very concerned about the future of planet. Okay. Describe image. सो इसमें हम रखेंगे ग्लोबल मंथली मीन कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड मेन टॉपिक ऑन द एक्स एक्सिस 2004 2005 2006 अप टू 2009 ईयर्स ऑन द वाई एक्सिस parts per million, that is 374 376 378 380 up to 388. Okay. Global monthly mean carbon dioxide was the main topic of the graph. On the x-axis, that is year, that is 2004 2005 2006 2007 2008 up to 2009. On the y-axis, parts per million, that is 374 376 378 380 up to 388. The highest value is 386 in 2009. The lowest is 376 in 2004. 384 in 2006 also given. Overall, the graph is useful and provide the information about monthly mean carbon dioxide. Okay. Gender pay gap main topic or years x-axis 5 10 15 y-axis. Scotland gap percent or UK pay gap percent also given. Highest is 30, highest is 20, 90, 98, lowest is 10. Gender pay gap in Scotland and UK was the main topic of the graph. 1997, 1998, 1999, 2000, 2001 up to 2005 year on the x-axis. On the y-axis, percentage is shown, that is 5, 10, 15, 20 and 25%. Scotland pay gap in percentage in dark line, UK pay gap in dotted line also given. The highest is 20% in 1998 in Scotland pay gap. The lowest is 10% in 2005 in Scotland pay gap. The graph is useful and provide the information about gender pay gap in UK and Scotland. Okay. इसको सिंपली स्टेप करके बोल देते हैं, या फिर ये लेफ्ट साइड में हो जाएगा, इसको स्टेप करके बोल देते हैं. इन फर्स्ट स्टेप सेल्फ, इन सेकंड, इन थर्ड, इन फोर्थ, इन फिफ्थ. मेन टॉपिक हो गया फंडामेंटल नीड मॉडल विद अब्राहम. Comparison of the fundamental needs model was the main topic of the graph. Status esteem needs, simulation needs, security needs on the left side. On the right side, I can see self-accumulation needs, creativity, fulfillment, self-esteem needs, respect and recognition, belonging needs, friends, family, love, safety needs, freedom from fear, psychological needs, food, water, shelter and warmth. The maximum area is covered by psychological needs. The minimum area is covered by self-actualization need. The pie chart is useful and provide the information about model with Abraham. Done. सेम एक्स एक्सिस वाई एक्सिस गिवन में कलर्स डिफाइन कर देंगे, वो स्काई कलर और ब्लू कलर. ओके. जर्नी पर पर्सन मेन टॉपिक. Journeys per person in Great Britain was the main topic of the line graph. Walk, car, bus, coach, rail and other modes on the x-axis. On the y-axis, numbers is given, that is 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600 and 700. In 1995 to 1997, the color is shown in yellow color. In 2006, the color is blue color. The highest is 650 in cars. The lowest is 50 in other modes. The graph is useful, provide information about Great Britain. यहाँ पे जो है थोड़ी मिस्टेक हुई थी हमसे, पीछे वाले में बोला स्काई कलर था लेकिन बोला हमने येलो कलर. लेकिन कलर्स के बेस पे हमारा जो स्कोर है वो इतना ज़्यादा डिपेंड नहीं करता. मेन चीज़ है फ्लुएंसी, वो हमारी सही थी. Reimbursement available was the main topic of the bar graph. Postage, phone calls, meals, training, travel cost, uniform and other on the x-axis. 10, 20, 30 and 40% volunteers on the y-axis. 20% in phone calls also given. The highest is 40% in postage, the lowest is 11% in uniform. The graph is useful and provide the information about volunteers who incurred expenses. Read a lecture.
What has happened in Latin America as a result of globalization? Well, they have had now more than a decade of what is called reform. A decade of globalization. And throughout the continent, people are asking questions like, has reform failed us? Has globalization failed us? Because clearly things have not worked out the way they were told they ought to. Just to give you a picture, they were told that reform would lead to faster economic growth. After a decade, what are the numbers? In fact, recent growth is far slower than it was in the 50s, 60s and 70s before reform. That is not a very inspiring success story. Even in the beginning part of the 90s, growth was still below what it was in the 50s, 60s and 70s, but the growth it got in the beginning of the period was not sustainable, and it was not sustained. Throughout the region, poverty as measured on the $2 a day standard as a percentage of the population was actually up.
Okay. Latin America economical growth was the main topic of the lecture. Firstly, he told about more than decade of globalization reform. Secondly, he mentioned about how the globalization failed us of picture. Thirdly, the speaker highlighted about faster economic growth in previous decade. Furthermore, the speaker described about recent growth is lower than predicted. Moreover, he explained about the number of success after the first part. Finally, the speaker elaborated about the region poverty of $2. The lecture is useful and provide the information about Latin America growth. Done.
The most visible manifestation of this wealth was a series of grand projects that were begun by Napoleon III, mainly in Paris, soon after he came to power in the 1850s. He said, I want to be a second Augustus, making reference to the Emperor Augustus's claim that he'd found Rome a city of brick and left it one of marble. In the case of Napoleon III, he found Paris in 1851 a city of cobblestones and twisting medieval streets, and he left it one of asphalt and macadam, because what he began doing was bulldozing old Paris, the ancient that he lit with some 20,000 gas lamps, which he took out all the old 18th century oil lamps, replaced them with gas, which gave a much cleaner, brighter, regular light. Also 50,000 trees are planted alongside them, many of them the chestnut trees that we now think of as synonymous with Paris. And he drained the streets with 200 miles of sewers, these new famous Parisian sewers beneath the streets, thereby making the city a much more safer, pleasant place to wander, to stroll, to people watch, to have coffee or absinthe in the cafes.
Okay. Manifestation was the main topic of the lecture. Firstly, he told about Paris soon in 1815 Latin. Secondly, he mentioned about the marble stone found in the old Paris. Thirdly, the speaker highlighted about 20,000 of gas cleaner in Paris. Furthermore, the speaker described about the trees planted in the north side of the Paris. Moreover, he explained about the 200 miles of famous region in the place. Finally, the speaker elaborated the information about people was to have cafe in coffee. The lecture is useful and provide the information about manifestation. Answer short question.
Agriculture refers to the production of food and goods through what activity?
Cultivating. कुछ भी बोल देंगे जस्ट इसमें.
What instrument allows you to see distant objects in space?
Scale.
How many years are there in a century?
100.
What is used to turn off an electric light?
Turn off.
A group of 3 students are talking about the film version of a book they've been studying.
So, what did everyone make of the film then? I absolutely loved her novel, but I've got to admit I was really disappointed by the film adaptation we saw in class. It didn't stay true to the book. The ending was different, it wasn't historically accurate, and the characters didn't really match my idea of who they were, especially the lead.
Well, it's always going to be potentially controversial adapting a book to a film. You're never going to please everyone. I think you've got to take genres like this with an open mind. I can't think of any I've seen that are an exact copy. I thought the book worked on the big screen because it was less about the plot and more about the visuals.
Yeah, it can be hit and miss, can't it? I think it's all about choosing actors and costumes and sets that reflect when the story's set, and the director creating the right mood to bring out the best elements of the book. For me, it ticked all those boxes. I actually thought it was much better than the book.
And sometimes it works better when the scriptwriter goes off on a tangent and has a completely different take on a book, so that it's almost unrecognisable from the book. Like ones that are made into musicals. Then the film takes on, like, a life of its own.
But if it's a story I've already read, I want the adaptation to be recognizable at least. Or what's the point? You might as well do something original. Create something from scratch instead, don't you think?
Personally, I'd say anything goes as long as I think it works. And I intentionally avoid looking too much at reviews before seeing an adaptation, because the rating will be heavily influenced by how much the writer loved the book. I want to make up my own mind and decide for myself if I like the film.
Really? I do the opposite. I decide whether or not an adaptation might be worth watching, or any film for that matter, based on the overall rating from the film critics and members of the public. If it's not at least an 80% good rating, I don't bother. Unless we've been told to watch it because we're reading it in class.
Well, here's an idea. Next time, let's all go and watch a film adaptation first before seeing any reviews and see if our opinions match the ratings. I think it'll be interesting to see how much we agree with each other.
You're on. Well, there's that Jane Austen period drama about to be released, isn't there? What's it called? Let's go to see that.
Okay. The group discussion was based on the topic of the film version. In this, there are 3 speakers that is talking about the film version concept. The first speaker said that film means absolute disappointed books and the ending difference is ideas who the overwork adapting. He also said that the journal contribution thing exact copy of the visuals is very closely a actor's story monitoring it tasks boxes. He also mentioned about the some take on the book exact copy of the visual choosing actors story memory. The second speaker said that musicals of the life story about the red what is the point create something new. He also said that from point of scratch rating will be very heavily how much the writer love from the books. He also mentioned about the good writing is bother water film adaptation. The second speaker said that film means absolute disappointed books, ending is different and interest to see how much we give about the books. He also mentioned about the actor story, monitoring the task about boxes and create something from the new things. Overall, the lecture is very useful and provide the information about the basic information about film version.
3 members of staff are having a meeting about organising a conference in their department.
So, this is our first meeting to try and organise the department's annual conference, and I must say, I'm starting to feel a bit worried. I know I'm a worrier by nature, but there just seems to be so much still to be done, and it's only just over 2 weeks away now, isn't it?
Well, closer to 3 weeks, actually. Anyway, yes, there is quite a lot to do, but I don't think we need to start panicking just yet. The way I see it, the key thing is to be organized. So the first thing is to make a list and prioritize. We've already booked the 2 lecture halls and recreation area, so that's a start.
Yes, so I guess the next thing is we need to work out the order of events and arrange who will give talks and lead the discussions. I've already talked to most of the possible speakers, and I'll confirm things with them. Then we can get going on writing the publicity material and getting it printed.
Thanks. That's already sounding more manageable. I wouldn't mind writing the publicity stuff. I think some posters and small leaflets will be enough, don't you? I know it's open to the public, but I imagine most participants will be from the department. So I reckon it'll be okay to do something on a laptop and just print it off ourselves. We don't need anything too flashy, do we?
No, probably not. But it'd be good to attract some people from outside, or at least from the rest of the college. On that subject, can I make a suggestion? How about getting in a main speaker, someone a bit more well-known in academic circles?
I'm not sure. I mean, I can see how that might attract more people, but the focus of the whole conference is the work of our department. Don't you think having a kind of star guest might draw attention away from that? And also maybe intimidate some of the other speakers who aren't so used to speaking in public?
Actually, I think it's a good idea. In fact, I can think of someone who could do it. She's written a couple of books that were well received, and she's a brilliant speaker, clever and funny. I used to work with her at another college, so I know her a bit. I could contact her if you like.
Well, okay. As long as it's a topic that falls within the general area, but doesn't clash directly with what others are discussing, it could certainly raise our profile and bring in more people. And there's no harm in asking, is there?
Okay, so I'll contact her tomorrow and see if she's free. Meanwhile, Jen, can you talk to the other speakers and discussion leaders and make a list of times and topics? If you can let me know that, I'll make a start on writing the leaflet. And we'd better schedule the next meeting, maybe for the beginning of next week.
The group discussion was based on the topic of organizing conference in departments. There are 3 speakers discussing about the topic of organizing conference in departments. The first speaker said that this is our first meeting organizing. We already booked 3 lecture rooms ready to speak with speakers more manageably. He also said that it opens to the public of the department, but it is good to attract people of the main academic circle. Then the speaker also said about the feeling worried from 2 weeks, quite a lot to do and organize a list. The second speaker said that the focus of our department is also the speaker speaking public written in the college. He also said that the long as the topic main general idea, no human asking in this of conferences. Then the speaker mentioned about how about attract more people in our department. The idea is good for writing a book and work with college students. The third speaker said that we better schedule for the next meeting for 2 weeks and 3 weeks make a list and priorities. He also said that need to work on the discussion of the speaker writing the public stuff. Then the speaker also mentioned about the department, I guess the next thing in my order of events. Overall, the discussion is very useful and provide the information about organizing a conference in the department. Okay.
You have a part-time job at the university library. Your manager has asked you to work overtime on Saturday, but you'll miss the last bus home. Your friend has a car and might be able to help. What would you say to them?
Hi manager, I would like to discuss that. Okay. Hi manager, I would like to discuss that. I have a part-time job at the university library. My manager has asked me to work overtime on Saturday, but I will miss the last bus home. My friend has a car and might be able to help. So please manager, I can't do overtime on the Saturday because I missed the bus. So please, if anything else, please let me know. Thank you so much.
You are in a class at college. The two students sitting next to you keep talking to each other. You can't hear anything your teacher is saying. What would you say to them?
Hi teacher, I would like to discuss that I am in a class at college. The students sitting next to me and keep talking to each other. I can't hear anything. My so that I can listen carefully, and thank you so much. If you have anything else, please let me know. Okay, we just simply maintain our fluency. Now we have writing part. Let's see copy होता है या नहीं. Okay, done. So now इसको कट कर देते हैं IPCC को and simply put and here. Okay, in small. Done. Now according to this, and the IPCC estimates and conclusion are grounded in the careful study. IPCC से related ही है ये. Okay, 29 words, comma, but the best study shows that 2050. Okay, done. Okay, 52 words. Our requirement is complete, but the best T is small. Okay, we can add one more line, comma, then so, and one more line now from the middle, and gore, and the current rate. Okay, this one. So the current rate, no, because we can't discuss about the current rate of melting. No, replace this line. ये उठा लेते हैं. So the sea level. So the sea levels will rise between only 12 and 50 centimeter over the century, with their best expectation being about 25 centimeters. But the best, so here is comma, no, already in line. So but the best study shows that by 2050 it will claim 4 lakh more lives, but 1.8 million fewer will die because of coal. Okay, all done. But words is 75, so this line we cut. Okay, 69 words enough. Next. First line as it is, this paper to grow. And this paper highlight that travel and tourism generates directly and indirectly a large percentage of GDP and a huge number of jobs in the worldwide economy, which can be expected to continue to grow, and there are numerous good examples of tourism acting. Okay, so I think that's enough. Our requirement is complete. And there are, okay, in last we place full stop. All done.
Submitted it. Okay, done.
Essay. In the modern world, comma, टॉपिक वो सब बाद में लिखेंगे. हैज़, टॉपिक हैज़, have become an important subject of debate. Full stop. Sporters believes चलो फिल करते हैं साथ के साथ. यहाँ पे लगा देते हैं ह्यूमैनिटी स्टडी. ह्यूमैनिटीज स्टडीज एस है तो हैव आ जाएगा. स्टडीज हैव बिकम एन इम्पोर्टेंट सब्जेक्ट ऑफ डिबेट्स. नेक्स्ट इज स्पोर्टर्स बिलीव इट. ब्रिंग्स एडवांटेज में लगाते हैं यहाँ पे हम क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग, एंड कल्चरल अवेयरनेस. while critics argue that it causes हम लगाते हैं लो इनकम एंड लिमिटेड करियर ग्रोथ. लो इनकम income growth. This essay will discuss both. Positive and negative aspects before presenting a balanced conclusion. Next, to bring with comma टॉपिक हमारे पास है ह्यूमैनिटी स्टडीज. offer significant benefits. Firstly, positive point. फर्स्टली पॉजिटिव पॉइंट लिखते हैं क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग, क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग which helps problem solving and decision making. Okay, problem solving and decision making. Secondly, comma, positive point to cultural awareness leading to cultural awareness leading to social understanding and ethical values. Okay, done. Ethical values. Moreover, these advantages improve overall or these advantages improve overall personal development and social harmony making humanity studies. Okay, making humanities studies highly attractive for individual and organization. However, there are also challenges. Associated with firstly negative point one, low income. Firstly, low income, which can result in financial instability and job insecurity. Secondly, negative point 2, limited career options, creating problems such as limited career options, creating problems such as such as slow growth and fewer opportunities. It is these drawbacks show that while these drawbacks show that while humanity studies can be beneficial, comma, it may not be equally suitable for everyone. Next is in conclusion. इन कंक्लूजन टॉपिक नेम हमारे पास है ह्यूमैनिटी स्टडी. इसको कॉपी करते हैं. ह्यूमैनिटी स्टडीज bring clear advantages such as पॉजिटिव डबल कीवर्ड. हमने यहाँ पे पॉजिटिव डबल कीवर्ड डाला था. एक पैराग्राफ ये था. ओके, इसमें हमने डाला था क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग. एज इट इज उठा लेते हैं. सच एज क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग, कॉमा, बट आल्सो faces limitations. Like negative double keyword. नेगेटिव डबल कीवर्ड उठा लेते हैं हम यहाँ से. लो इनकम, कॉमा, to maximize its benefits, कॉमा, पॉसिबल सॉल्यूशन हम दे देते हैं कि स्किल इंटीग्रेशन एंड करियर प्लानिंग, should be implemented ensuring that it can be enjoyed without causing unnecessary disadvantages. ओके, ऑल डन. अभी भी हमारे पास 5-6 मिनट्स हैं, तो इसको एक बार कर लेते हैं फिर से चेक कि हमारे जो वर्ड्स बने वो बने हमारे 186 वर्ड्स. हमें करने हैं 200 प्लस. तो इसके लिए क्या करते हैं, जो हमारा टॉपिक है, टॉपिक में एक लाइन डाल देते हैं एज इट इज़. द वैल्यू ऑफ ह्यूमैनिटीज़ हैज़ बीन इंक्रीज बाय द, यहाँ तक करियर तक डाल देते हैं. ओके, हो गए 200, एक में और डाल देते हैं तो पूरे हो जाएंगे, इसमें और डाल देते हैं तो पूरे हो जाएंगे। ऑल डन, 214 हो गए, इनफ है। अभी इसको चेक करते हैं। इन द मॉडर्न वर्ल्ड द वैल्यू ऑफ ह्यूमैनिटीज हैज़ बीन एक्लिस्ड बाय द नेसेसिटी ऑफ प्रिपेयरिंग ऑफ सेल्फ specific wealth producing careers have become an important subject of debates. Supporters believe it brings critical thinking and cultural awareness, while critics argue that it causes low income and limited income growth. This essay will discuss both positive and negative aspects before presenting a balanced conclusion. To bring with the value of humanity, ये सारा सेम है। ऑफर significant benefits. Firstly, critical thinking, which help problem solving and decision making. Secondly, cultural awareness, leading to social understanding and ethical values. Moreover, these advantages improve overall personal development and social harmony, making humanity studies highly attractive for individuals and organizations. However, there are also challenges associated with humanities studies. Firstly, low income, which can result in financial instability and job insecurity. Secondly, limited career options, creating problems such as slow growth and fewer opportunities. These drawbacks shows that while humanity studies डाल रहे थे ना, humanities shows that humanity studies can be beneficial, it may not be suitable for everyone. In conclusion, humanity study bring clear advantages such as critical thinking, but also faces limitations like low income. To maximize its benefits, skill integration and career planning should be implemented, ensuring that it can be enjoyed without causing unnecessary disadvantages. Okay, इसको करते हैं अभी नेक्स्ट। सो अभी हमारे पास आएंगे 25 मिनट्स टोटल टाइम है हमारे पास रीडिंग के लिए, जिसमें फिलिंग द ब्लैंक्स हैं, मल्टीपल चॉइस, रीऑर्डर, फिलिंग द ब्लैंक्स और मल्टीपल चॉइस सिंगल। ट्राई करते हैं। ओके, A creature may have fine physical defenses such as hard armor on sharp spines. It may have powerful chemical defenses such as an. अगर हमारी ट्रिक देखें हम तो ट्रिक हमारी पास लग रही है आगे से ए, पीछे से ing, मोस्ट कॉमन निकला थर्ड वाला। Smell or for tasting flesh, but none of these defenses is much used in the dash for survival. ऑप्शन देखते हैं। सर्वाइवल के लिए हम क्या करेंगे? सर्वाइवल के लिए मार्च कोई नहीं, सर्वाइवल के लिए हम स्ट्रगल कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि इसमें भी ट्रिक लग रही है। और के बाद आया हुआ है एस, और से पहले भी है हमारे पास एस वाला ही, इसमें आ जाएगा स्ट्रगल। For survival, unless the animal also has right behavior to go with evolution, shapes a living creature, size, color and other dash. हमारे पास है यहाँ पे ES और फर्स्ट सेकंड थर्ड, और थर्ड वाले को करते हैं नेगलेक्ट क्योंकि वो थोड़ा सा लेंथी है एज़ कम्पेयर टू फर्स्ट एंड सेकंड। तो साइज है, कलर है और पीस नहीं हो सकता। साइज, कलर और शेप हो सकता है। देखो शेप दे ही रखा है तो वही राइट आंसर होगा। फिर द मोस्ट डैश बिहेवियर कैसा हो सकता है? डिफ़िकल्ट बिहेवियर नहीं, डेंजरस बिहेवियर, लाइन नेगेटिव नहीं है कि हम डेंजरस लगाएं। ऑटोमेटिक बिहेवियर, द क्रिएचर कैन परफॉर्म द एक्शंस, ओके। टेस्टिंग एंड ट्रायल, डूइंग एंड ट्रायल, या फिर ट्रायल एंड एरर। यहाँ पे जो राइट आंसर होगा ट्रायल होगा। आईएनजी वाला नहीं होगा क्योंकि एंड के बाद भी आईएनजी नहीं है। सो देखो, आप देख सकते हो कि जो ये हमारी ट्रिक्स है वो पियर्सन में भी काम करती हैं। नेक्स्ट करते हैं ट्राई। ऑप्शन ओपन करते हैं। हमारे पास है फोकसिंग, टीचिंग और एमिंग। आईएनजी पीछे से, बट आईएनजी हमारे पास एसआईएनजी यानी कि फर्स्ट और सेकंड। सो देखते हैं हायर एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूट और ऑन एक्सपेरिमेंटल लर्निंग पे क्या करेंगे फोकस। R2 aim 2। देखो ये तो सिंपली R2 आ जाएगा। जिस स्टूडेंट को पता है इसका राइट आंसर R2 क्यों है, जल्दी से कमेंट करके बताएं। एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप एजुकेशन डैश एज ए मेजर फोर्स इज सीन। मेजोरिटी जा रही है आगे से फर्स्ट थर्ड, पीछे से थर्ड फोर्थ। मोस्ट आंसर प्रोबेबिलिटी कहाँ जाएगी हमारी, थर्ड नंबर पे। क्या आ जाएगा, इज सीन। ओके, so there is an ongoing shift towards experiential learning in business school dash there is little empirical evidence। since टाइम की बात है, नहीं है। yet there is a little empirical also there is a little empirical even yet there is a little empirical evidence। क्योंकि कोमा है, कोमा के बाद also होता तो बीच में कनेक्ट होता, कोई कोमा नहीं होता। देन इसको ट्राई करते हैं अभी। New technologies are helping cities फॉल्ट्स को रिपेयर कर रहे हैं और लीक्स को क्या कर रहे हैं, विदाउट हैविंग लीक्स को प्रोटेक्ट कर रहे होंगे हम। सो यहाँ पे हमारे पास एग्जिस्टिंग एमर्जिंग नया सिस्टम, जैसे कि एडवांस, ये तो क्या हो सकता है, एमर्ज हो सकता है नया सिस्टम। तो ओरिजिनल डेवलपमेंट, इंटीग्रल, इन्वायरमेंट, तो इसमें राइट आंसर होना चाहिए हमारे पास MENT। तो डेवलपमेंट, क्योंकि इन्वायरमेंट की बात नहीं हो रही है। इसको RE एबल डिस्पोजेबल रिसाइकलेबल, दोनों जो है मिलते जुलते से हैं, अपोजिट हैं, पर जो ट्रिक है हमारी वो लग रही है RE वाले में, तो आ जाएगा रिसाइकलेबल। नेक्स्ट करते हैं अप्रोचेस टू वैनिशिंग, डिस्पोजिंग, एलिमिनेटिंग, डिसपियरिंग। एलिमिनेटिंग थर्ड वाला, दे डैश एंड रिप्लेसिंग। दे मेजोरिटी जो जा रही है हमारे पास वो जा रही है प्रोड्यूस और प्रोड्यूस्ड भी है। बट यहाँ पे क्या बात हो रही है, फ्यूचर में बात हो रही है, फ्यूचर में बात नहीं हो रही है। द साउंड दे प्रोड्यूस, सिंपल आ जाएगा, दे प्रोड्यूस, ना कि दे विल प्रोड्यूस। ग्रेटर डैश, ग्रेटर रोल, ओके। ये तो कोलोकेशन हो गई, रैदर देन डायरेक्ट हो गया सोल। ये करते हैं used in a variety of courses in various disciplines, asking the right question help student bring the gap between synthesis the dash this concise। फर्स्ट वाले में हमारे पास जो आंसर आना चाहिए, अगर हम ऑप्शंस को देखें तो हमारे पास जो है सेकंड और थर्ड वाला ऐसा है जो सिंपल से दे रखे हैं हमें, फॉर दिस रीज़न स्पेसिफिकली, बिकॉज ब्लैंक से पहले वाला ऐसा वाला है। नेक्स्ट सेकंड, थिंक क्रिटिकली बाय प्लस V1, सो क्या आना चाहिए, बाय एक्सप्लोरिंग। ओके, थर्ड वाले में क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग, ऑब्स्टेकल्स टू क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग, हाँ ठीक है। टीचेस टू डू समथिंग, ओके। सो राइट आंसर कौन सा होना चाहिए इसमें, इट टीचेस देम। इसमें हमारे पास राइट आंसर आना चाहिए टू रिस्पॉन्ड। इनमें हम टाइम वेस्ट नहीं करेंगे, इनमें सिंपली हम कोई भी आंसर लगा के, अगर हमें पता है तो ठीक है, अदरवाइज थर्ड ऑप्शन लगा के आगे चलते रहते हैं। ओके, रीऑर्डर पैराग्राफ सोल्व करते हैं। फर्स्ट नंबर पे हमारे पास इसमें आना चाहिए एजुकेशन। सेकंड नंबर पे हमारे पास आना चाहिए दे आर स्टार्टिंग हाउएवर टू अटर वार्निंग। ओके, जो दे है वो रेफ़र कर रहा है हमारे पास यहाँ पे एजुकेशन स्कॉलर्स को। उसके बाद जो हमारे पास आना चाहिए वन रिव्यू, क्योंकि ये एक एग्जाम्पल सा दे रहा है हमें कि वन रिव्यू पॉइंटेड टू अ सर्टेन बिग सिटी मेयर स्टाइल, और फिर दैट मेयर, वो मेयर से रिलेटेड आ गया हमारे पास, इससे रिलेटेड। नेक्स्ट वाला करते हैं। सबसे पहले हमारे पास आ जाएगा योर मेन जॉब इज टेकिंग लेक्चर नोट्स टू बी अ गुड लिसनर। सेकेंड नंबर पे आ जाएगा टू बी अ गुड लिसनर, सेम थिंग। नेक्स्ट नंबर पे आ जाएगा गेट देम डाउन। नेक्स्ट नंबर पे आ जाएगा वंस यू हैव डन दिस। सारा कुछ हो गया तो उसके बाद रिवाइजिंग करो। ओके, सो फर्स्ट नंबर पे आ जाएगा हमारे पास ऑस्ट्रेलिया इज़ अ डायनेमिक। सबसे पहले ऑप्शन देखते हैं, सेटलमेंट एमर्ज यूनिफाइज एग्जामिन इंक्रीजिंगली बिकेम वेवलिंग और रिटेन्स। फर्स्ट नंबर पे हमारे पास आ जाएगा यहाँ पे हिस्ट्री टू डैश, हिस्ट्री टू एग्जामिन, V1 यही है। और हाउ दिस सोसाइटी डैश, हाउ दिस सोसाइटी डैश फ्रॉम इट्स, तो पास्ट लग रहा है, ईडी फॉर्म एमर्ज्ड। और ब्रिटिश कन्विक्ट डैश टू टुडे, टुडे है तो सेटलमेंट्स, दो वर्ड का प्रॉपर वर्ड बन रहा है। दूसरे वाले में ऐसा आ जाएगा वन दैट रिटेन और बट इट इज़ इंक्रीजिंगली इंडिपेंडेंट, दोनों फिर से वो कंबाइन हो गया LY के साथ। ओके, ये वाला ट्राई करते हैं। No two siblings are the same, not even identical twins. Parents often dash. पजल हो जाते हैं जो पेरेंट्स हैं। आई रेज दैम अप, उन्होंने उनको बड़ा किया है। वट ब्रोट आवर बिहेवियर, बट हाउ वी डिटरमाइन होना चाहिए बिहेवियर के केस में। नेक्स्ट करते हैं। शिप रैन डैश, ये है हमारे पास एक ग्राउंड। और इन दोनों में से एक होना चाहिए। अभी ईडी वाले हमारे पास दो रह गए तो ये लगा देते हैं स्करीड। सक्सीड की यहाँ पे कोई बात नहीं हो रही है इसीलिए। सेवरल डैश ऐसा आएगा, प्रपोजल्स यूज़फुल और जो रेगुलर हो। ऑफिशियल, ऑफिशियल ए वाले दो हैं हमारे पास। एक्सेप्टेंस, थर्ड लगाते हैं इनमें जस्ट और नेक्स्ट करते हैं। अब आ रही है हमारे पास लिसनिंग का समराइज स्पोकन टेक्स्ट। सो ओपन करते हैं अपनी नोटबुक को और नोट करते हैं इसमें हम फ्रेजेस। ओके, नोट करते हैं।
So let's just talk a little bit about a telescope. Our eye is the telescope we all are used to. It's a little tiny 5mm telescope, and it serves us very well. But if we make telescopes bigger, we get a couple good things. We have larger telescopes, and they collect a lot more light, so we can see things that are fainter. But it turns out they greatly improve detail, and that's because of the nature that light is a wave, and wave effects, or what we call quantum mechanical effects, mean that when you use a little telescope to look at waves, it becomes blurry through what we call diffraction. And so larger telescopes are extremely useful to improve detail. The other thing that telescopes allow us to do is to put modern digital detectors behind them. Our eye is about the same sensitivity as a photographic plate. A photographic plate can be sat there and it can look at the sky for an hour so it can see fainter. But modern digital detectors are almost 100 times more efficient than our eyes at collecting light. And so you can improve things by a factor of 100. That's like building a telescope 10 times bigger. And so that improvement has been one of the things that's allowed astronomy to do so much in the optical regime in the last 30 years.
नोट करते हैं, द लेक्चर was mainly about telescope. Modern detectors were also discussed in the lecture. The lecture talked about the importance of their photographic plates. Furthermore, the discussion was about their tiny telescopes and blurry effect. एक लाइन अभी हमारी रह गई. द लेक्चर वॉज मेनली अबाउट पीपल्स टेस्ट. द स्पीकर स्टेटेड सच वर्ड्स एज डैश एंड डैश. मोर ओवर देयर, पहले वो लाइन लिखते हैं. मोर ओवर देयर यूजफुल, मोर ओवर देयर wave effect and nature were also discussed in the lecture. Okay, done. Finally, the lecture by stating the facts about their 30-year experiences या फिर about their human eye telescopes. All done. 72 वर्ड्स हो चुके हैं. चेक करते हैं एक बार. The lecture was mainly about people's dash. The speaker stated such words as dash and dash. Moreover, their wave effect and nature were also discussed in the lecture. The lecturer talked about the importance of their photographic plates. Furthermore, the discussion was about their teeny telescopes and blurry effects. Finally, the speaker concluded the lecture by stating the facts about their human height telescopes. ओके एक बार फिर से इसकी स्पेलिंग चेक कर लेते हैं. टाइम अभी हमारे पास है. फिलिंग द ब्लैंक कर लेते हैं अभी हम. इनको सिंपली थर्ड लगाएंगे.
In his book, The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat and Other Clinical Tales, neurologist Oliver Sacks relates the tale of a medical student who one day woke up and found that his sense of smell was so acute that, like a dog, he could walk around identifying people, places, and things by his sense of smell. And what a wondrous experience it was. Like a visit to another world, he said. And normally, we humans don't have a sense of smell as acute as many other animals. We tend to rely more on what we see or hear to tell us about the world. Still, our sense of smell is powerful. Most of us can detect 10,000 different odors, from cigar smoke to a chlorinated swimming pool, from curry to a city sewer. And think about how a particular odor can instantly conjure up past memories. Maybe it's fresh cut grass that makes you think of childhood summers, or baking bread that reminds you of a special holiday.
Hello, what can I do for you?
We were hoping that you might be able to give us some advice about accommodation for next year.
Where do you live at the moment?
We're in one of the halls of residence.
Oh, is it okay?
Yeah, it's okay, yeah.
But a few problems. It can get a bit noisy some nights, so hard to study.
Yeah, and also, the internet connection just keeps going down. It's a real pain.
Oh, no, that's not good, is it? So, you want to move out? Possibly rented accommodation? Well, it's very common. Most students do this in the second year. It's far more private, you get more independence.
But of course, you have to pay for it. It is more expensive, isn't it?
Generally, yes, but there's a range. Also, you may have to pay for services sort of on top of your rent, like gas and electricity. Oh, and the television license.
Yeah, but still probably better on balance. How do we go about that?
Well, here's a list of approved accommodation. You contact the owner direct to arrange a viewing, and any problems, just come back to me.
Right, you're very helpful.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
ओके सो हम इसमें सिंपली ये सेकंड वाला लग रहा है, इसको थोड़ा लगा देते हैं. नेक्स्ट करते हैं अभी. ओके
Well, the banana is the first cultivated fruit. It's one of the food items that literally brought people out of the jungle, out of their hunter-gatherer lifestyles, and was there at the dawn of agriculture, which is what helped force human beings into communities. It's really one of the things that helped invent human culture. It's about 7,000 years of history. And the banana, from its center of origin, which is believed to be Papua New Guinea, it spread out with people who traveled in boats across the Pacific into the mainland of Asia and all the way south to Australia, across Indonesia, Micronesia, and eventually they moved as far as Africa and even possibly to Ecuador, all in this time, and all on paddled boats and wind-driven boats.
Perhaps you remember the dire predictions from the analysts. The fall-off in housing threatened to drag down the entire economy. High energy prices would put the kibosh on consumer spending. Runaway inflation was poised to take off. David Weiss is an economist at Standard & Poor's. He says in the end, none of those things happened in the final 3 months of last year.
There's an idea that essentially sleep allows a homeostatic readjustment of synapses. During wake, you're bombarded by experiences, and that leads to multiple synapses being engaged and their weights being changed. And then what sleep allows, and specifically actually slow wave sleep, is a pruning back off those unimportant synapses. So it's kind of like, I imagine in some senses, the judicial pruning of your roses to get a nicer flower. So the idea is that the slow wave sleep is able to prune back synapses that are energetically wasteful, but are also wasteful in an information processing account because they're adding noise. And that clearer, crisper signal then translates into improved performance the next day.
What is classical physics? Let's start with the easiest, perhaps. What is physics? Physics is the study of the natural world. It's the study of the physical world, the world we live in. It's experimental science, and it's really the heart, the core of all other experimental sciences. Physics goes beyond just a simple description of nature. It's an attempt to unify a broad variety of phenomena that we observe in the world, both the natural world and the technological world. We're looking for the underlying principles, the explanation, the prediction. We would like to be able to really understand the world around us, measurable things in particular. Physics studies matter and energy, space and time, studies particles and waves, forces and motion. These are a lot of words that we use. We have deep intuitive sense about what those words mean. And part of what we're going to be doing in this course is to start looking carefully at each of these words. What do I mean by energy? What do I mean by force? How would I define that in a laboratory and measure it? And what use is it? How does it help me to understand things about the world?
And we identified 15 priority projects which are supposed to be urgent and immediate needs of adaptation. And these projects, the first one is slightly being implemented, but there is so much bureaucracy behind the funding of that project that it still hasn't been implemented properly. So if these were urgent and immediate needs, then how come it's not being implemented on an urgent and immediate basis? Because the fund is not there. Even if the fund is there, some bureaucratic things are holding it behind. There are some of the funds, they say, like, you have to have certain infrastructures in place and certain things have to be in place for us to fund this additional climate change. But the funds are, what everyone says in these climate change conferences, are not enough. They're just not enough.
When I was 14 years old, a visionary visited my school. The man was a pioneer in new technologies, and he had come to announce how the world I was growing up in was on the verge of radical change. He brandished a VHS cassette and announced that television was going to be transformed forever. Using the power of VHS, everyone would make their own TV programs. Instead of accepting the bland output of comedy and drama from the existing networks, we would simply take control ourselves and become producers as well as consumers. TV stations were going to close, corporations would fold, and a new wave of creativity was about to be unleashed. For me, at that age, it seemed like impeccable logic, and the scenario he described seemed inevitable. Over the following years, it became clear that what he had predicted was certainly not coming true, and I began to think of him as an idiot.
We don't really have a free trade regime. Free trade would mean that you took away all barriers to trade, all impediments to a level playing field. We don't have a level playing field. For instance, the United States and the EU subsidize agriculture. That means that producers in these countries get money for producing. They don't just rely on the market. Free trade would be just rely on the market. Almost half their income comes from government subsidies. Somebody might say they actually spend more money farming Washington than they farming the land. So the problem is that developing countries, too poor to give subsidies, have to compete with this highly subsidized American and European agriculture. So even if they were just as efficient, even if they were twice as efficient, they would have a
ओके अभी हाईलाइट इनकरेक्ट वर्ड करते हैं, ध्यान से करते हैं इसको.
Over half of patients had what we called the no symptoms, no asthma health belief. They thought about and managed their asthma as an acute episodic illness, the way someone would treat a cold or a flu. They felt when they had their wheezing or shortness of breath, that's when they had their asthma, and it made perfect sense for them to use their quick relief medicines and their chronic controlling medicines then. But once they started feeling better, they felt there was no reason for using those medicines because they felt okay.
Okay.
Consumers, of course, are also keeping an eye on prices, especially at the gas pump. When gasoline topped $3 a gallon last year, many drivers lost their enthusiasm for SUVs and started paying renewed attention to MPG. Another question mark for the industry is whether consumers and policymakers will maintain that focus on fuel efficiency, with gas prices in much of the country now closer to $2 a gallon.
Okay, dictation करते हैं.
Most of the students had not considered this issue before.
Okay. क्या हमने लिखा है वो राइट कर दें एक बार. Most of the student have not considered the issue before. एक्स्ट्रा में लिख देते हैं ए दा, अगर कुछ होगा तो आ जाएगा, था नहीं वैसे कोई भी. ओके डन बस.
When workers ask for higher wages, companies often raise prices.
When workers या फिर workers ask for higher wages, companies, दो sentences थे ये, companies often raise prices, raise their prices to the A in full stop. Okay, when workers ask for higher wages, companies often raise their prices. Companies often raise their prices. Okay, done.
Your role will principally involve development of new chemical processes.
Okay, your role was principally involved in development of new chemical processes या फिर PROCESSES processes. Okay. Your role was principally in फिनिश. यस. सो टेस्ट हो गया हमारा यहाँ पे कंप्लीट. ऑलमोस्ट अभी आपको सभी को जो है वो समझ में आ गया होगा कि किस तरीके से मैंने टेस्ट को परफॉर्म किया, कौन सा टेम्पलेट यूज़ किया और कैसे उसको डिफ़ाइन किया, क्या क्या स्ट्रक्चर्स हैं, किस तरीके से जो है हमारी जो ट्रिक्स हैं वो रीडिंग में काम करती हैं. अब आप में से किसी भी स्टूडेंट का डाउट नहीं रहेगा कि कौन सा टेम्पलेट वर्क करता है और कौन सा टेम्पलेट वर्क नहीं करता.